Support comes from ServiceNow. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents. How we doing?
Hey, Aaron.
Are we all properly caffeinated? Not you, you're a kid. But like the rest of you adults, properly caffeinated. We are Serve. This is Serve Live, presented by our friends at ServiceNow. To my far left, producer Mike is in the house.
Morning, everybody.
To my immediate left, John Wertheim, part of our dumb little podcast show, and also really important shows like 60 Minutes and stuff like that. This is great. Laver Cup week, amazing. We have John McEnroe. Anyone heard of him? He's going to be joining us in a little while. That'll be pretty. Maybe we'll get him to come out of his shell a little bit and open up. Maybe not be so shy.
Exactly. It's a little shy.
Yeah, we went to this fancy Laver Cup gala last night. I felt like I had to wear a tux. I felt like I was going to prom.
Yeah, everybody was black tie except for you.
Everyone was black. Oh, yeah, you're gonna make me say it?
Yeah, I did.
Go in there? Oh, wow.
So he's referencing something that I went through last night. It's a sad story. Do you guys want to hear it anyways? All right. It was black tie, so I had a little tux, little bow tie. You know, Roger loves a tux.
Looks good in one.
What?
He looks good in one.
He looks good
Yeah.
in tux.
Yeah.
Yeah, great hair. But anyways, I had that moment. Some of you have been there. Some of you will be there. But the neck had grown, and I couldn't button the top thing. And I fought it. I almost injured a tricep trying to get this thing buttoned. Anyway, so show up at a tuxedo black tie event. No tie. Couldn't put it on.
You missed the memo.
V-neck with the tux.
It wasn't great. Roger's too nice. And then they're like, okay, I'm like, maybe no one will notice. Maybe they can just get out of there, walk in. It's like, no, you're sitting at Roger's table. I'm like, that's great. That's fantastic. That's great. Thank you for inviting me to your wonderful night. And my neck is too bulky bulky is a nice word.
You pulled it off. You're starting a trend of the V-neck with tux. You know what struck me about last night? I don't know if you had this feeling. This is, I don't know if you guys saw any of the pictures on social media, but yeah, it was like tennis prom. It was like everybody sort of helping your buddy with his bow tie. And I'm thinking, it was really, must be socializing for a lot of these players. A lot of us go through this kind of thing. It's a college formal or it's your office party when you have a conventional job. I feel like this was part of tennis player education, that some of the younger players in particular, here's how you wear these awkward shoes that squeak when you walk, and here's where you put your cummerbund. And I was watching these.
Wait.
I don't think it had a cummerbund on.
Just so we're clear, yeah, I didn't have a tie, is because of a neck situation. You chose to wear a cummerbund. You were at prom.
Men's Warehouse. 2 words. Men's
like the way you look.
Warehouse. I like the way I look.
It was a vibe though. I was stressed about my neck, and then I realized if I stand next to John, people will only look at his cummerbund.
Say, go big or go home.
Anyways, we got through it. We should address. There's matches going on today, right? There's some tennis going on too. We start off. The big guy Opelka starts off against Casper Ruud. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Ruud's up 4-0 in their head-to-head.
Correct.
Nailed it. Mickelson and Mensik. Fonseca Caboli.
Oh man, you got to see these shirts our Brazilian friends here are wearing. Can you see that?
Wait, I didn't know that people liked Joao in Brazil.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that true?
Has he punched through with the Brazilian sporting public yet?
Yeah.
Do you know who he is?
Are we full of belief? Are we full of hope? Or are we full of all of it? Hope, belief, or
You see those
both?
shirts? Those shirts are fantastic.
Both.
We got pictures taken.
What do they say?
Post them.
What do your t-shirts say? That sounded great. I'm not even going to try to repeat that. That sounded way better than I would not do that. Oh, by the way, did you hear how the video pronounced Holger Rune last night at the
The way I pronounce it.
No.
Yes, he did.
God, you're so wrong on this, Mike.
I'm from the Midwest. We say things funny.
You say things very weird. Anyways, we've gotten off track. Go figure. Alex Mickelson and Taylor Fritz against Mensik.
And
Carlitos is making his debut
Right session.
tonight. Which matches are you guys looking forward to the most?
I mean, probably for me, Fonseca Gaboli.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be the first one to lead off the night sessions. I think it's going to be big energy.
Yeah.
those two guys played before this year. It was 8-6 in the third set breaker. So not much to go on head-to-head. But these are two players who both play sort of Baroque tennis. You're going to see a lot
Is
of
that in Halle?
Yeah, Halle.
Bam.
Man.
What up? Here we go.
Nerd. Lot of shot making. How do we feel about Carlos playing doubles?
I'm sorry. Like, what? That's. I've
He can play
discovered.
triples. He can play quadruples.
I've discovered this is actually we're being lazy, right? So like we have a conversation, people are listening, and whenever we want feedback, how do we like Carlos's hair? Yeah.
It does look cool.
Yeah.
It does look cool.
It's pretty. It does look cool. But I mean, honestly, does it look cool because he's won 6 majors?
Yeah.
No, it looks cool anyways.
It was
That's
like,
a great question. If he had
was like
lost
my-
to
no,
Van
I
de
mean,
Zandschulp 4 weeks ago, how would we be feeling about the hair?
It's like my high school experience. I became popular once I turned pro. Like, I mean, it's, that matters a little bit. How about yesterday when Jannik Noah was here and he said, you were always playing, his point was we're always playing for someone, whether it's your country, whether it's your parents, whether it's and I thought he said, because we go off air and was like, how was the show? And I was like, oh, well, you thought he said, and then you play, you make it a little bit and then you play for chicks. Chick. I thought he said chicks.
I thought he said cheeks.
And so I was like, yeah. And then we came off and producer Mike was like, he said checks, you idiot.
Yeah, he went on to talk about buying a house for his mom.
Yeah, and then he was like,
I know.
I thought he's playing for checks, and I'm dying laughing because I just thought it was funny and very honest. And then he's like, I had to buy my mother a house and my father a house. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I messed that up a little bit. But Jannik Noah is like one of the coolest people ever, right? I mean,
I thought he was playing for Czechs like Lendl and Mensik.
he was, yeah, I'll play for them too.
I think he got Czechs, and Czech. I think he did well in all those departments. But no, Jannik Noah is what we should all aspire to in terms of coolness.
I felt like I was asking him questions, and while I was listening, I felt like I was just leaning into a therapy session. Like it was, I talked to my wife last night, and I go, we have the same conversation that we have. I was like, it's not what you're saying, it's your tone. And so I thought Jannik, I was like, yeah, that's what my wife says. She says it's my tone. I thought he was going to be like, ah, ha, ha. And he goes, it is, Andy.
Not the what, it's the
It was
how.
cool though. On the black carpet, the Team Europe had a vibe, man. They have like
Yeah.
a song that apparently they're playing, and they're all like vibing around.
They're relaxed.
They're super relaxed.
They're going about it differently.
Yeah.
It was cool. But listen, let's break down these matches today. Leading off, Opelka Ruud up 4-0. This one's tough. I don't know that this surface, so Andre described it as low and slow. So a lot of times when you put courts down in arenas that aren't native to tennis courts, you put them on some sort of surface, it deadens the bounce a little bit, right? It's not like concrete where it bounces and then gets up a little bit. The bounce is muted normally indoors, especially when you're in an arena where you're turning it into a tennis arena. It's not like it's Arthur Ashe where it lives as a tennis court and you can build the foundation of concrete and rubber and all that stuff up into it. So you're kind of putting in a makeshift court. Normally the bounce is muted. I don't know where this is going to land because it hurts Opelka's serve, right? He wants it to kick up and out of the zone, and it hurts Casper from the baseline, right? He wants those RPMs to kind of get up and away. But Opelka may be the only person on either team where the ball's not going to get up no matter how much spin Casper puts on it. But yet the head-to-head tells a different story, JW.
Yeah, let me ask you a question about head-to-head, because it's 4-0. First thing we do whenever we assess a matchup, first thing you do, how have they played before? How close has it been? How many times they played?
Where?
There you go.
where it's
Exactly.
played.
So what do you, 4-0 sounds like lopsided, but I'm not sure we have a lot of predictive information here.
You
What do
can
think?
read into 4-0 a little bit, but let's use Casper as an example. If someone has a 2-1 record against Casper and 2 of the wins were on grass and they're playing on clay, I put almost nothing in that, right? It doesn't matter. So it is more than just the head-to-head, but obviously Riley Opelka has to get in. He wants to shorten rallies. He does not want to move, right? If it's a battle of legs and they're going sideline to sideline,
Not good for Riley.
Casper is doing what he wants and getting what he wants in those rallies. Opelka's going to go big on second serves. He's going to try to attack Casper's serve a little bit. I'm a broken record on this. Casper's first serve percentage is going to dictate whether or not Riley can get into return games or not. You know, Riley, and the other thing to look for is the strength of Riley's game isn't ever going to be described as his returns, right? It wasn't the strength of my game either. And yet, the person that's in his ear,
Yeah, right.
one of the best 3 or 4 returners of all time. So I'm curious to see how much they actually go after that, what the return position is. Is Riley doing something different because Coach Agassi sees something that maybe he wouldn't see on a regular basis? Does everyone here, when they're watching the Laver Cup telecast, is the best part for you the switchovers, right? Where they play it back and you lean in and it's like Andre's going, let me talk to you about returns. And I go like this.
Talk to you.
I'd like to see.
I think it'll be really interesting this time because were you guys here yesterday when Andre was here? This is not someone that's just trafficking in cliches and moving on. I think Andre's advice is going to be, this is not just going to be keep fighting, you're doing great, keep your focus, go get them. You got this. This is going to be substantive tennis talk, which should be great to see.
Andre rarely says or does anything without focus. He is not the easiest to get a yes out of, right? This captaincy, he will think about things, right? He would have been offered this job. My guess is he would have thought about this job, given it time, gone back and forth. You could rightfully accuse him, and he would tell you of maybe overthinking sometimes. But once he's in, you are getting the full Andre. I don't know if any of you watched the interview we did with him on our show. If you haven't, please go back and watch. Not just because it's our show, just because you will learn something, right? You will learn what awareness looks like, what someone acknowledging flaws, what someone knowing what they do well, all of that stuff. But the difference is that was on a random day before he had to fly to Europe, and so he settled in for 2 hours because he had committed to us, and that was his priority that day. Yesterday, even beforehand, he's texting me, he goes, dude, I love you. You're my guy, and I'm going to be in and out because I don't want to miss a ball of my team's practice. So this is going to be shorter than we had discussed. Sorry for that. He's focused. He's into it. If you're his North Star, you're going to benefit from it. Andre Agassi will not spare any details. I cannot wait to hear those conversations. Mickelson and Mensik is going to be interesting. Neither one has a ton of confidence coming in. Both lost early both got upset at the U.S. Open. Mickelson had a good summer up until then, won a bunch of matches in Canada. I think he made quarters. I think he won a couple more. In Cincinnati, he has very quietly entered the top 30 or thereabouts. Maybe he's 31, somewhere around there. But great all-court game. I got to play with him at the U.S. Open Thursday night before against Fonseca. He's just a pleasure to be. I mean, just a nice guy. Like, really like him. Great reputation as far as work ethic. And Mensik, JW, how do you analyze his year? Because obviously he's 50 in the world, wins Miami, beats a guy named Novak in the final, and then has kind of been a little bit spotty, unpredictable. It's almost as if he was 50, wins this tournament, goes up, but then maybe reverts back to more inconsistency than we may have expected post-Miami in Masters 1000 win.
I see also a number next to his name, 20, which is his age. When you watch this match today, I mean, this is a high school, this is a college junior against a college sophomore, so there's young players. We do not expect great consistency. Not everyone can be Carlos Alcaraz. Yeah, I mean, you win Miami, you beat Novak, you're a hot tennis commodity, and then it stands to reason that eventually the law of averages sort of imposes itself. There's a lot of game here. He had a nice Wimbledon. We actually spent time with, he learned how to play the drums during COVID and nicknamed himself the the minimal. That's a little trivia to take with you. But no, I mean, this is a game that's honestly still developing. This is still coming out of the insect, the chrysalis. But I think this match between two guys who have never played each other, just bear in mind, these are two of the talents. 5 years from now, we're going to be saying, remember we saw those guys on the Friday of Laver Cup? These are two guys who are arrowing like this. And just keep in mind, college junior versus college sophomore. These are still two young talents.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I think whoever gets off to a good start, I think, is going to lead. Again, confidence works in a couple ways. One, it's just nice to know that whatever product you're going to put out there feels predictable, right? When you have it, when you're playing well, you might lose. You might lose because someone's better, but when you're confident, you know at least within a variance of 5 or 10% what type of product you're going to put out there. I don't think either one of these guys right now knows, am I going to be 40% of perfect? Am I going to be 50% of perfect? Whereas it's a little bit more predictable when you have matches, when you're confident. So that start matters, right? When you're confident and someone breaks you early, you're going, okay, level set. We'll get back there. I know what my product is. Let's just start clawing back. When you're not confident, get down a break. There's a little bit of panic. Everything starts going a little faster. Your decision making, even if you play at a club level, you should know what this feels like, right? When you're not playing well, things feel like they're getting away. You make decisions out of panic as opposed to composure. So it'll be something to look for early in that match because there's not a reserve of confidence on either side with those guys.
Before you move on,
Right
can
now,
you
yeah.
talk about that in a team setting, right? You talked about hearing the changeovers and hearing the switchovers.
Yeah.
How much can these young guys learn from the vets in these moments and gain that confidence in real time?
I feel like I don't know that you can solve for 15 minutes at the start of a match. Like, I don't know what advice is there past strategic. I think where the value with these young players, it might not even manifest this weekend, but hearing processes, I think, is the takeaway. Will it matter in the first 15 minutes of the match tonight if Rod Laver walks up to you and says, get off to a good start? Probably not. Now, if Rod Laver says, you know what worked for me was discipline over the course of 10 years and in the midst of bad results, staying true to process, like that stuff is a little stickier. That's the stuff that I imagine these young players are trying to pull from this weekend. But there's no magic potion for form. You have to get through the reps. You have to be stress tested. You have to be match tested. And I don't know that there's a Band-Aid for that. Then we get to Fonseca Cobolli. I mean, this is gonna be fun. These are guys. The issue with this match and what these two are still trying to figure out in spite of their successes is sometimes when you could hit a winner from any position on the court, you try to hit a winner from any position on the court, right? So, I mean, Fonseca is a talent. There's a reason why there's a hype mechanism around this kid, because what you can't teach is the way the ball explodes off of a racket, right? You can't teach ball control. You can't teach power, lines, and cross court. You can work on it. I worked on it my entire career. Everyone knew that I wasn't just going to randomly fire backhand lines because it wasn't something I was comfortable doing. And frankly, I wasn't that good at it. Fonseca does the hardest parts well. He will get to the point where he doesn't miss two balls and get down love 30 in a game, right? So I think it's reigning in his game. It's not dissimilar to what we've seen the progression of Carlos be, right? To where it's the most beautiful thing ever because it's like watching the most exciting roller coaster heart rate monitor. But then he plays his best tournament, in my opinion, that he's ever played at the US Open. And what was it? It was consistent. There weren't these ebbs and flows. There wasn't the random dropping of a set second round.
It's funny, though, because you could cut and paste that, and that also, at some level, describes the opponent. There's real similarity, I think, between these two guys. I think Cobolli's had some of his shine probably taken by Sinner, and even Musetti to some extent. But Cobolli's greatly entertaining. There's a lot of variety. This should really be a fun match. Both of these guys, I don't know how you feel about this, too. I mean, you can say, I make my U.S. Open debut, but you played juniors. You know what the U.S. Open is. I'm imagining putting myself in the place of these players, and you come here and you've got literally hundreds of major titles represented. You've got Hall of Famers. What do you think these guys are going through just in terms? This is a different debut than, hey, I'm playing Wimbledon for the first time.
Yeah, and I think this is something that you had mentioned when we were talking before is playing in front of your peers where you can look over and see them. That's just not something you do very often. Like, you play in front of crowds, but you've done that before, right? Joao Fonseca's played in front of crowds. He's played in front of big crowds. When you look over and it's your team and there's an expectation set and a pressure from them, not applied, not like, you better win this, otherwise we're not friends. It's not that. It's just game recognizes game, and when you're having those eyeballs on you who know what you're doing, who know when you really miss one, even if no one else in the stadium does, that presents its own type of pressure.
I think that's almost a secret sauce of this whole event. I don't know if you guys heard yesterday when Jannik Noah said you've got to play for more than yourself. And when you win a tournament, you don't just share your shoelaces. You're celebrating with the public. And I think what the players are playing for here, what makes this so meaningful, is exactly what Andy just said. These are your peers. These are people you want to impress. These are future opponents. These are people you want to measure yourself. Who doesn't want to perform well when the very best of your colleagues are right there 20 feet away from you cheering you on? And I think in a way what Andy just said, it's kind of the motor, it's kind of the cheat code for this whole event.
Yeah, agreed. And then we get to doubles, which, what a way to showcase doubles. And you've heard me, you know what I think, but this run, now, you might not like the way the mixed doubles was done at the US Open, and I respect that for you. You might have problems with it. What it did was create a success story commercially with kids being able to see it, go for free, the exposure of doubles. Everything that I've heard for the last 20 years is we have to get eyeballs on doubles. That's the priority. And if that's the priority, then it was mission accomplished at the US Open. This is another place where doubles is absolutely showcased, and it matters for the overall event in a big way, which is why opening doubles match, who are we putting out there? The #1 player in the world, Carlos Alcaraz.
Great. Looking forward to seeing him play. We saw him play mixed doubles. All right, it's a good effort. This is a little bit.
I mean, they just wanted to flirt for an hour. Like, what are we doing here? I said it, whatever. I don't care.
Feeding the beast.
I don't care.
That shaggy-haired man with black brown hair. That wasn't.
Yeah, that was like 4 haircuts ago for Carlos.
Yeah,
like, who cares?
I couldn't even remember. Remember, Carlos played doubles with Rafa at the Olympics.
That was
last
awesome.
year.
Yeah.
But do you want to explain, by the way? Do you just so we?
Yeah, I have it here. That's why I'm not playing Angry Birds. I think you're going to talk about the scoring in the format.
Yeah. We have a graphic for the scoring in the format.
So how it's a little bit different, right? Rules and scoring. So, like, why would Carlos not play singles on day one, right? They're weighted differently. Like, basically, we want a spectacle. We want chaos on the last day. So the matches today count for 1 point for each side, right? And the rules are that every person on the team has to play a singles match Friday or Saturday. So we understand that. So it's not as if we can play Carlos all 3 days. And you want to weight your strongest players towards the back end. So there is some strategy here with what days you play which guys. Sorry, it's loading each time.
Yeah,
Friday matches worth 1 point. Saturday matches are 2 points. Sunday matches, 3 points each. The first team to reach 13 points. If the score is 12-12, the final double match determines the winning team. If Carlos plays, he can play doubles again. He cannot play with Mensik again, right? Unless it gets to the tiebreaker where you play 4 at all, then you can let a rip tater chip. You can play any team that you want, but they're obviously going to weight the strongest players or the matchups that they want, or Andre might wait the day where Jannik has to put forth his roster first, right? And then save Carlos for that given matchup. So there's a lot in play. That Mac could probably actually tell us the ins and outs, and I haven't done it. I haven't been a captain here. I can barely do the math.
Do we like the? This is like what's the game show where do we like that every day gets progressively more important and more points?
It's weird. I was torn on it, and then when there's still a chance most times that someone can make up 6 points in the last 2 matches, I'm going, oh, that'd be fun if that happened. It's by design. This is a 3-day sugar rush where you're going to see the best players in the world. It's stacked so the teams can have a chance even towards the last day. I mean, we've seen massive comebacks. You can make up a lot of ground on day 3. So it's by design.
That happened last year.
Would you want the US Open to be played this way?
Yeah.
No.
Could be kind of cool.
No. But for a 3-day celebration, and let's call this what it is. It is a 3-day celebration, starting with Rod Laver, of the legends that came before us and gave us all of the opportunity. Right? We've been able to bring Bjorn Borg back, where we saw him for 7 straight years being a captain. Andre Agassi back in the fold. This is why we're here. The format's exciting. It's the best it can possibly be for TV. You're going to get a lot of those moments where Andre is trying to affect change on his players, which is endlessly entertaining. But what about you? I mean, how do you feel about the format? Just because it's not the same doesn't mean that it's not really fun and really good. We all used to go to Blockbuster.
It was my first job.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff changes.
You don't still go to Blockbuster? No, we always say tennis. What do we say about tennis? Apart from it needs to showcase doubles more. It needs to innovate. It needs to think outside the box. It's a stagnant sport, and we need to jazz it up. And I think the format here, everything, the court. I mean, there's so many innovations here, and a lot of them have honestly been it's sort of an open source material that other events are free to use if they want. I think you're right. I mean, realistically, we're not going to play a conventional tournament with this kind of accelerating points, but I think it's great. I think it probably precludes any sort of a blowout, and Sunday play is still meaningful, but it also means the most important matches carry the most weight. Great, love it. We love the we do that on game shows. Let's do that on tennis as well.
Well, and the other thing that's really smart is when you're asking these players to take on a load in the middle of the season, 10-point tiebreaker. It's a lot easier to commit to these events when they're not 3 out of 5 sets. Davis Cup. Not anymore. But, if we're asking these players to give up time that they don't have, it needs to be a shorter format.
I understand our guest is
slowly
here, making his way over.
So what we are going to do is we are going to run a quick ad roll. On the other side, we are going to get the thoughts of the man, the former captain of Team World, John McEnroe. We'll be back right after this. Support for this show comes from ServiceNow, who are enabling people to do more fulfilling work, the work they actually want to do. There's a lot of talk about AI out there right now, and a lot of times the AI you hear about feels like it's hard to grasp. But ServiceNow is here to work with people and tackle the boring, busy work that always gets in the way, the stuff that slows you down and keeps you from doing the stuff you actually want to be doing. And they do it with their AI agents. By being built into the ServiceNow platform, they automate millions of repetitive tasks across IT, HR, customer service, and more. You can automate any process with AI-powered workflow generation. That means you can build workflows with reusable components, configurable playbooks, process mining, and advanced decision support. So your people can focus on what really matters, and that's putting AI agents to work for the people. Find out how to get started at servicenow.com/AI-agents. We kind of see him in the wings over there. This man, imagine winning 150 some odd titles throughout your career. The man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Mac, everyone. So, one more time, come on, it's early. Let's get his attention. John McEnroe, everyone. Actually, there's no interview.
5 more times.
There's no interview. We're actually just gonna feed your ego for the next 30. One more time. There we go. Mac, I don't know that anyone can speak to the process of captaining the Laver Cup more than you and Borg. What are Agassi and the old Jannik Noah feeling this morning?
They're feeling a lot of stress.
Yeah.
They're trying to, think on whether these decisions they made, the picks, and how it's going to work out, and then hope that there's some level of fun in this. Because after all, it's a great event. I think everyone's going to enjoy it. I did it for 7 years. It's awesome. But at the time, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot at stake, a lot of money you can make, and it'd be gratifying since Europe generally has most of the top guys. It's sort of been an uphill battle. It seems like the playing field's getting a little more level. Unfortunately, we lost a couple guys.
Yeah, that was tough.
So that's tough, too. You don't sort of know to the last second. You're always questioning whether you made the right move. But ultimately, you try to, as a captain, make that little tiny bit of difference, maybe 5%. That can be the difference between winning and losing.
Well, and talk about this, because we just kind of explained the format and the point structure on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, how the captains are kind of, there are very specific rules that everyone has to play the first 2 days. No doubles team can play together again until it's the tiebreaker. So there are a lot of moving parts. When you're Team World and you lose a Ben Shelton or a Tommy Paul, it's twofold, because obviously Ben Shelton's a top 10 player. Tommy Paul's been a top 15 player the last couple of years. But also they're very literate in doubles. So Andre's lost a little bit of his kind of optionality with those two out of the lineup. That's a concern, right?
Yeah, Ben was great for a couple of years. He played doubles. Doubles is more important than you think. It can come in critically important at the end. We had a year, the first year we finally won at Team World, that this thing's not working too well, but it doesn't matter because I can hear you without it. But it keeps... I guess my ears are big. That's what I've determined. But 1 year, Felix Auger-Aliassime played the doubles, and he didn't want to really play the doubles, and he had to play Novak. And we were way behind going into the last day. The last day's got the most impact, points-wise. You can come from behind. I think that's why they came up with this format, so it ain't over till it's over. So, he didn't want to do it, but it turned out he was our MVP and got some confidence from the double. So you got to take that into consideration. Some guys, I wanted Ben out there whenever he could play. His maximum amount of doubles matches he could play. And I'm not sure what Andre's got in mind for the doubles, if it's going to be three different teams. But I wanted Ben to be with different players. Like, he played with everybody. Mm-hmm. And so it depends, like, who you got, who's eager to play. Obviously, you want your best players the last 2 days. You're going to see Alcaraz, assuming, get his feet wet. I didn't see, but I'm assuming he's playing a doubles.
Doubles tonight, yep.
And then he'll play singles and doubles tomorrow. Not singles and doubles. He'll play singles Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if he'll play another double. So it's sort of like a feel thing and what the player wants, if they're ready for it. The format's great, though, because it's not best of 5. You can do it all in an hour and a half. 2 sets, a tiebreaker, so I like that a lot. I think that's good for the fans too.
Right. How much when you and Patrick, who was your vice captain, when you guys were running through scenarios, how often were you able to kind of predict what the other team was going to throw out there, and how much did that dictate decision making versus, like, you know what, let's just let it rip, let's put our best team forward? How much were you trying to kind of speculate what Bjorn was trying to do?
The good thing about some of the players, Taylor is an example. He's very well prepared as far as what he's going to do, and he also thinks through all the possible scenarios. So it's really a group thing that I had. I preferred it with the players who were involved too.
So when you had those meetings, the players were in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
We'd make the final call so that they wouldn't feel guilty that they were having someone stay out and didn't want to be responsible for that. But they were absolutely part of, like, who they thought that the other, Bjorn would pick. Absolutely.
If I may flatter you, I think you may well have been the ultimate Laver Cup player. You would have been a good threat, singles, doubles, good guy. Hey,
why didn't they do this 40 years ago?
Really going out on a limb there, JW.
Yeah, we're going to call in McEnroe for the doubles point. Have you thought, is there... What's your ideal Laver Cup matchup? I mean, have you played Time Traveler and thought how this may have played out in the 80s?
God, I hadn't thought about that.
You
imagine me and Jimmy Connors.
I was going to say.
Let's give Mac.
I don't know if that would have happened.
Let's give Mac a second to think about it. We actually did this. Roger and I did this in Boston, and the whole thing was like, go back to a couple of years and who would have been on your team.
Exactly.
Right, and it was actually really fun to kind of walk through. It's like, okay, where does Safin go? Where's Hewitt going? I got Hewitt. That's a good one to have. But who would have been a couple of the players that you would have wanted on your team, singles, doubles, maybe someone you wouldn't fight with?
Oh, well,
there goes that.
There's no one left.
Yeah,
right. Bjorn Borg was the only guy I'd never gotten a fight with, on or off the court, and he'd be on the other team. So. There'd be slim pickings. I mean, Peter Fleming and I, he was a top 10 player in singles at one stage. So people forget that.
Yeah.
He got hurt and it curtailed his ability to play singles, but he could play that. So I would have loved to like Pete. I played Davis Cup with Pete a couple times. So that would have been awesome. The opportunity.
I was at the one where you guys played the final and you guys played doubles. That was amazing.
Were you a ball boy?
I was
Are you
up.
the guy that threw it over my head?
I think I've told you this before. I was the guy. So they were playing Switzerland with like Rosé, and it was before that guy Federer, but they had these big Swiss bells, and it was in Fort Worth and open day one, and they're just banging these things. The road team, and they kind of cheered harder. So my brother and I the next morning went to a bike shop and bought a bunch of air horns. So that was us.
Thank you. That was my last Davis Cup match I ever played. So that, we went out in style. I had Pete on my team, Sampras, Andre Agassi, who's now obviously the captain, amazing, and Jim Courier. So
It was the best Davis Cup team of all time, in my opinion.
I appreciate that. We sort of felt like, we were unbeatable. Pete and I played doubles the last 2 matches, so Pete ended up being a pretty good singles player. I did play Davis Cup with Jimmy Connors once, and for 9 out of the 12 months, when we got to the finals and lost, we didn't speak to each other. So that's not the team environment you want.
So walk me through. Okay, so this is where the show gets good. You ready? Okay, so walk me through that. Walk me through that. You guys are on the same team. Did you have to schedule when to be in the locker room to avoid each other, or was it like you just pretended like the other person wasn't there?
Well, it's not more like a we. It was more like him.
He started it.
Oh, he definitely started it. I played Davis Cup every year for 7 years leading up to 1984. I've been part of some teams already. So it became apparent to Jimmy and his sort of manager that the only thing that he hadn't won was Davis Cup because he had refused to play. It's not as if they didn't want him to play. He was the number 1 player.
I thought it was crazy.
Then he became a distant second. No, I'm kidding. He wasn't a distant second at all. But we were sort of going at it, but we had respect for each other as players, and I think I'd like to think we made each other better players. But when it coincided with that year, what happened to be my best year on the tour that I ever had. So that year,
still arguably the best year that's ever been had on
let's
tour.
talk about that for a while. No,
that's what the last time you were on, we talked about that.
Yeah, right. Right. So I was beating his ass pretty regularly. So at one point, the late great Arthur Ashe, who was the captain at the time, says to me, "John, the team dinner is on Wednesday. Is it okay if you don't come? Because Jimmy doesn't want me to."
That's not a true story.
I wouldn't make that up, would I?
Yes.
No, it is true. I go, "Arthur, I love you. But you're also aware that I played every match the last 7 years, and Jimmy's just come in, and so it looks good on his resume."
That's fair feedback.
Oh, wow.
Do you think maybe he should be the one that doesn't go? And so he thought.
Sorry, was there not a world where you guys could just exist and not be petulant for a dinner?
So yeah, I think was a world. But then he realized that I was right, and so then Jimmy ended up not coming to the dinner. But it was sort of awkward, obviously, that we're going through pretty much the whole year not speaking to each other. We get to the Davis Cup final. We're in Sweden. Jimmy's all crazed in his head because his daughter Aubrey was about to be born.
Okay.
So he was out of it like a little man. He was worried about that, didn't want to miss that. I had just met in a new relationship, turned out to be my wife, my ex-wife. So my head was all over the place. So we went out. We lost the first couple matches, so we were in big trouble. You got to win 3 in a row to win. We're playing the doubles.
You guys are playing together?
No. Me and Peter Fleming are playing, and we're playing Edberg and Yara. They're a great team at the time.
Team, yeah.
And so we're 2-1 down. It's a tiebreaker in the 4th set. We got to win this tiebreaker. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at the corner, and I see, Jimmy's cheering for me.
Way to go.
Hey,
See?
you won him over.
I go, the hell with that guy.
Thought you killed him with kindness.
No, and I felt terrible because here I am almost like, screw that, man. I'm going to lose this. And I was playing for my country. Yeah. So I felt horrible in a way. And then afterwards, Jimmy and I went out and had dinner.
What?
See?
Yeah. All of a sudden, it was like, it's all good, John.
I love their booing.
I'm like, what?
We don't want peace.
Kidding me? So I can never quit. Listen, I hadn't seen Jimmy for 6 years. I just saw him last week. and we agreed, Andy, as long as you're there, because I know he used to coach you a little bit. Let's come and play a little golf and have dinner afterwards. What do you think?
I want to insert.
John, you heard that.
I heard
right?
that. Cats and
that's
dogs. That's great.
I'll be the peace. I'll be the peace broker. I would love to. Done. I'm going to report back. Mac, this better not just be for the video, because I would love to do that.
No,
That'd be
absolutely.
We thought we were living in polarized times, and next thing we hear.
Look at this. I mean, guys, if McEnroe and Connors can go on a golf trip, we can do anything. We can do anything.
Yes. He wants to beat my ass on the golf course, and he probably will.
He's pretty good.
Wait, speaking of tennis history.
Yeah, tennis history. So last night at the gala, we had a chance to hear you speak about Rod Laver.
It was great.
It was a wonderful speech.
Fantastic.
What can you tell us about the guy that was your idol and that this cup is named after and what he means?
Well, what I said about him, I don't know if people know baseball, but he is our Babe Ruth. He's like sort of the person I saw. I used to cry when he lost to Ken Rosewall, and he had these huge arms. I'm like, how does a guy have an arm that big? So I did all these, squeeze balls, all this stuff to try to get my arm bigger. Then it turned out I'm the only #1 in history that had the same left arm size, left arm and right arm.
Is that true?
Yeah, my left arm's
I'm sorry.
no
How is
bigger
that
than
even
my
measured?
And
Were people like in the 50s bringing out like a tape? Like how
it wasn't quite the 50s, Andy, but thank you.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
talking about me.
Wait. Time out.
It was the 80s, okay, not the 50s.
Don't do that. Don't do it.
John, did he just say the 50s?
If you're going to say I was the only one who had an equal size arm ever, that would imply that the measurements had gone back before you existed. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what did they do in the 50s? Did they just like measure it with like a ruler? How do you know that?
They went into a cave and they.
Sorry. Your tribute to Rod Laver.
I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Everyone I saw from Rod Laver forward to this day, that whoever their predominant armor was bigger. But Rod was someone who I got to meet briefly when I used to have a big event in Dallas at WCD Finals, and he was the man. First guy that was on TV playing the WC events, won the Grand Slam twice, which is unheard of. No guy's done that.
And explain, when we say the Grand Slam, we don't mean a tournament, right? You all understand what this is? Explain the 1962 of things. The amateur turns pro, wins all 4 majors in the same calendar year. Bananas, twice.
So no one's done that since. A couple guys have been reasonably close. Novak most recently had won 3 in a row and lost to Medvedev. I think it was 4 years ago at the U.S. Open.
Yep.
But it was unheard of. That Don Budge did it in the 30s. It wasn't until Rod did in 62. But here was the problem. Unlike now, where some guys can make a lot of tremendous living, no money in tennis. So in order, he had a kid. He had to find a way to make some money, so he had to turn pro. So when you turned pro back in the 60s, you weren't allowed to play the Grand Slam events. So for 5 years, Rod Laver played 0 Grand Slam events, even though he was the best player in the world. In 68, finally, tennis came to the realization it'd be better if all the best players competed. And so they opened the tennis. The first year, ironically, which was beautiful, as a soldier in the Army, Arthur Ashe won the U.S. Open, which was a great message moving to the future that led to people. Oh, yeah, thank you. I only wish he saw his stadium, Arthur. But in 69, Rod, at I believe 30, 31 years old, won the Grand Slam for the second time, beating everybody. So that was even more impressive than it was the first time. And he continued to play because he still hadn't really made any money. I'll tell you, he made $100,000. John, you probably know this because you're a student of the game. He played like 35 tournaments in 1970 to reach $100,000 in prize money.
But
first round loser at the U.S. Open is $110,000.
Well, that's because of Rod Laver, though.
Right.
I hope all of the players that are in these tournaments playing for these sums of money, fans that can go into this beautiful building today and have an amazing experience. I mean, talk about what I found interesting was you started talking about what did Rod Laver's life look like in 1963 when he was playing for money venues?
Yeah.
Was he playing 5 times a week? Who was he playing against? What does that cadence look like? You're going from playing Wimbledon in 1962 and winning the Grand Slam to 1963. You're playing what? What are you playing? Carnivals? What are you doing?
You're playing anywhere they can put down a court. Probably here. Like they weren't allowed in there, but they play here and put on some, play on wood, play on some cement surface that was nowhere near what
basketball
gyms.
Right.
Basketball gyms, like college, high school gyms. getting up and having to pick the court up afterwards, put it in a truck, and go to the next place and do that 5-6 days a week. And that's in order to make, $50,000, $75,000 in a year. So it was a totally different time. I don't think the players of today realize what was the sacrifices that players made to allow them to have this opportunity to play this incredible sport. But hopefully, if we keep educating people, they'll understand more. And the players that are playing now, these young kids, thankfully, I think a guy like Alcaraz gets it. And obviously Roger. Thank you, Roger Federer.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Roger saw just a vision, and he wanted to pay tribute to Rod Laver, and he's done a wonderful job.
Talk us through, so this event in 2017, they call you and Bjorn, and this is obviously in tribute to Rod Laver and in tribute to those years, right, where he is playing in basketball gyms. And let's make sure that the current players get together to celebrate, but also understand, right?
Yeah.
Let's tell that story. You get the call in 2017. How was it laid out to you? What was your process towards a yes for this event?
Well, the process was pretty easy. Sort of like Rod Laver, count me in, basically, more or less. I met with Roger and Tony Gotzik, his manager at Wimbledon. They laid out this idea. I said, sounds like, sort of like make it like the Ryder Cup, which is huge in golf.
Yep.
And have an event that brings the best of the best together and puts them together as a team. And then when they said, on top of everything else, the other coach is going to be Bjorn Borg.
Was he confirmed first, or was it like, we want you and Bjorn?
I believe, I don't remember the exact timing of it, but I think that Bjorn said that he'd only do it if I was the captain. No, I'm just making that up. No, I think it was sort of pretty much at the same time, to be honest. They were, I don't know if it was like, look, we're talking to both literally the same day, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was I know for me, and just read Bjorn's book, so he said the same thing. Very easy decision to be part of this and to try to sort of cement his legacy, and as much as we can, or as little as we can, to help that, we want to do it.
And also, a lot of things have to go right. Like, you can have an idea for this event, but you also have to have influence to make it happen. You have to be able to call Johnny Mac, and you have to have the credibility to, for him to think, okay, let's do this for Rod. That goes to Roger, right? To think through the storytelling and the other pieces of it. But as I was sitting here with Jannik Noah came yesterday, and he's not someone like I've known you since I was 17, and I was a practice partner for your Davis Cup team. I don't know Jannik that well, and for him to come here and be able to tell his history, maybe there was a 7-year-old who didn't know his journey, the fact that he's like this rock star, and his influence on the game. It's not only about Rod Laver. Obviously, he's the inspiration, he's the tent pole for this thing, but we're retelling the stories of our legends to entirely new generations of fandom through this event, not just Rod.
But I'll give you a quick Roger story. We went years ago, me and Bjorn and Roger, we played James Blake. We went to Asia, and it was after he had gotten sick at the finals in China and had to pull out, and was also struggling with some injuries. And I said, this guy's not going to play these exhibitions. It doesn't matter, and he's got to take a break. Not only did he play, but we had a couple chances to eat some dinners, but he talked about how much he loved the traveling, how much he loved the press conferences, how much he loved the fans being around him. He loved everything about it. I'm like, really? How can you love the traveling when you're going, all over the world constantly, or some of the parts? And it's sort of that positive energy that he's got, that he brings, the joy that he played with, but just his vibe as a person rubs off on you.
Yep.
And so that, to me, made, I was like, wow, the way you look at things, if you look at it in a different way, and I think that's sort of what's been happening with this event. Look at the screen behind you. You see guys, a lot of guys that aren't really very demonstrative, or got way more so. I mean, obviously some of the guys naturally aren't and can let them out. But I think that the players understand that have played this what a great experience it is. I hope, this is the only last thing, I hope that they make this more of a standalone event. As opposed to, well, I mean, there's like tournaments going on this week. Not that, many of the top players are playing, but other players had to think about, I've got to play in Japan next week. I got to go to China. I got to worry about points, rankings. So this has got to be something that's like a time of the year where you don't put anything else, so that all the players.
Is there such thing in tennis? How does that work in practice? We finish in November 27th.
That's true. It's very difficult to know when that is, but like, listen, Davis Cup meant a lot to me, and now all of a sudden, what's happening with Davis Cup? And so you have to figure out a way to help our sport, not just prolong the agony with some of this stuff. Right. I mean,
let me
not to bum everyone out.
Let me tie that, because I heard a fun story about the very first year. No one knew what to expect, right? It's a totally new concept. We're rolling it out. Are the players going to take it seriously? And they ended up having the opposite. They said the players were so nervous that they would walk out to the court in Prague, and there was so much tension in the air, you almost had to have a release valve. Were you surprised by, from the get-go, how seriously the players took it?
Yes and no. I mean, I was surprised in a way because some people were trying to portray it as some type of exhibition, which was total BS as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, but you were slightly biased, maybe.
I was slightly biased. I was, with the captain. But the moment this started, literally, once you saw them start competing and the way the format worked, you realized that this was something that it was going to be taken seriously, and just dismiss anyone that thought otherwise. The Prague event, the first one, was a perfect example. It went down to the wire. I think Kyrgios had a match point on Roger to take it to the final doubles, which would have been unbelievable. He ended up losing that match. Not like, wow, bad loss? No, I don't think so, to Roger. But nonetheless, it was a very exciting event, and I think the players have been feeding off that ever since. And these things that seem like, you're like, why do we have to do that? Look at that. In front of the Golden Gate Bridge or something, you're like, wow. So you do things that you don't normally do in tournaments.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to us about, Matt, because there's not a lot of things in tennis that didn't come quickly to you. You were at Stanford and you made the semifinals of Wimbledon, right? Like
before I went there.
Before you went there, sorry. You were going to go to Stanford and you made the semifinals of Wimbledon. That's
you mentioned the roommate? What'd you do this summer?
Yeah, what'd you do this summer? Like, I had an internship.
Worked at a hardware store.
I made the semis of Wimbledon.
I played a lot of tournaments after Wimbledon.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I was so burnt out that I went to my coach, and the coach of the tennis team, and he said, I know some of you guys have played a lot over the summer, so come back when you're ready to practice. So I didn't show up for practice for 2.5 months.
Yeah, I would be okay with that if my
But I said, look, I am 21 in the world.
Made the semis of Wimbledon. I wouldn't care much. But the point where I was going with it, Mac, was you took your lumps in this event as a captain.
I did.
The first however many years. We talk about how much the players care and how much they'll fit on one hand, but just barely. But talk about that moment where you finally broke through, and talk about the worry where it's like, was there ever a thought where, am I going to be a captain that actually doesn't get on the board? That's a new feeling for you.
Probably at 3 or 4, I started feeling like the Washington Generals playing the Globetrotters, because it was like we were close but no cigar. And it did sort of feel like we were running uphill a little bit. And these guys, 9 of the top 10 would be from Europe. And we're like, how are we going to do this? And we to the players' credit, all the players, they kept battling, and we weren't giving up or giving in, and we're just a little bit overmatched. But you get a little bit of luck, like that final day in London. We finally were in London, and it looked terrible. And it was like, here we go again. We're going to be 0-5. This is horrible. And then all of a sudden, we convinced Felix to play the doubles. That'll be good warm-up. He doesn't really play a lot of doubles. He won that. He beat Novak of all, that was the year that Roger and Rafa played. That was the last match that Roger played in the doubles. We were down match point there, and people were like, why didn't you let, those guys win? I go, look, they did okay. Roger and Rafa. We need the point.
I can confirm that he's won enough.
Yes, Andy, you can vouch for that. And so when we got to like him, and then Francis played Tsitsipas, and it was just, we had the best celebration we ever had. We finally let it all hang out, and it was incredible. And then we won again, and we were so close last year. We were 2 games away. Francis was playing Zverev. Damn that guy, because I think it's like he's played 5 out of the 7, and the 2 he didn't play, we won, and the 5, he likes to rub it into me all the time. Hey, John, did you know I won all 5 when I played? Screw you. Yeah. And Francis was a set in 4-3 serving, and all he had to do was hold twice. So even now, like a year later, what should I have said to him to sort of get him over that hump? You start thinking about that, and then you're like, God, I should have done so. So you always wonder the what ifs. You try to not think about it too much. And then the last match, Carlos, this guy Alcaraz, turns out he's pretty good, huh?
That blondie?
Yeah, that
Blondie up
blonde
there?
guy. He played Taylor, and Taylor fought and fought. He was getting, Alcaraz was playing incredible. And we were down a set in 4-2, 5-3, and he broke back, and we're like, oh my God, maybe Taylor could pull the rabbit out of the hat. But he kept his cool. You know, listen, I'm pulling for Team World, obviously, because, yes. But, Earth! I will say this. Thank God for Carlos Alcaraz in our sport.
Hell yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Johnny Mac, thank you all for joining us here at Serve Live. A couple more questions with Johnny Mac. When I knew you were coming on the pod, and obviously the Laver Cup of things, I thought to myself, how cool to have this lifelong rivalry, friendship, relationship with Bjorn Borg, and then have an excuse to then have shared space and 7 more years of memories as captain. What has that meant to you to be able to kind of share this Laver Cup experience with your friend Bjorn?
I thank you for even bringing that up, because Bjorn Borg and I are sort of synonymous with each other in a way. And everything, I mean, I remember watching Wimbledon when I was 13 or 14, and he was on the center court for the first time. And
coolest guy ever.
The coolest guy. They said this before, so maybe some of you have heard it. But as he shook hands and he won his match, literally like 200 girls ran on the court and tried to hug him and grab him. And that's the moment I decided I want to be a professional tennis player. And then to be able to experience like the unbelievable highs and some lows, more highs than lows, playing him in Wimbledon finals, US Open finals, being his friend, feel like you're bringing the game to a new level, and then having him walk away from the game, to me, way too early. Read his book, buy his book.
Well,
and then to be able finally, after all this, I mean, you have lives, family, kids, we live in different places. The Laver Cup for the two of us was the greatest. A chance to just, rekindle some old memories, but mainly just to be able to see each other and hang out a little bit. You don't do it much, obviously, because you're with your team, he's with his.
Yeah.
It's more almost on the court.
Sure.
Talking on the court and go, hey, this isn't bad, isn't it? And just a chance to hopefully say, hey, let's make sure we keep in touch and see more of each other.
I don't know if you remember this. You played Bjorn in San Francisco at an exhibition event, and I don't know if you played the Cow Palace as well. We were talking yesterday. Yeah, exactly.
15 times I played the Cow Palace.
Big fans of cows over there.
It still smell there.
The Cow Palace.
They had those animals in before. It was rough.
I was going to tee you up for how great is it that tennis is back at the strong tennis market, and we're talking about
Well, now they're in this place. I mean, it's pretty good.
Exactly. It's a nice
This is where
upgrade,
the Golden State plays, right?
Yeah.
I had
I thought they played over in Oakland.
They moved.
They did.
Oh, they moved.
Yeah. Then they won a bunch of titles, and that's what it gets you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. One more thing that I was curious about. You've mentioned Bjorn's book a couple of times. You've mentioned that you read it. How is it for you reading this book from your friend, your rival, ups and downs? Like there's been this element of mystery around Bjorn, right? Walks away after you beat him in the US Open. We don't really see him again. I guess his struggles you probably might have known about more than the rest of us, but not exactly super public. What was What were your emotions when you were reading the book back with Bjorn?
My emotions were I went to the index and I looked up
John McEnroe. Yeah, there you go. And read about yourself.
34, 110 to 112. No, pretty much. But then there was no index, so I had to read the whole goddamn thing. I could have cut through the muck. No, there wasn't really anything, honestly, in the book that I didn't really know.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few things where there was more isolation than I was aware of. And, you know, it's difficult because by nature we're sort of, you know, on our own. You know, it's a sport where you don't really mix that much, especially when you're playing. And at the end, it gets tougher with family and stuff. So there was sort of like, wow, I wish I had been there a little earlier or known more. But, you know, even then, the person oftentimes, even if you're close, is not going to tell you that. So it's a really difficult to know. But, like, I guess the bottom line is, at the end, it seems like he's in a great place. That's what matters to me. God, I love the guy. That's the bottom line. Yeah. If he's happy, I'm happy. But, you know, it's a journey. You know, to me, I had a documentary a few years ago, and people wanted to talk about the years, obviously, and you want that to be part of it when I played in the Wimbledons and the this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, for us as ex-athletes and players, to me, the journey and where I came from, what I learned from on and off the court, my kids, my second chance in a marriage, et cetera, that was more important to me, and hopefully that's what it is for him.
Yeah, I think the fascinating parts of the books, and my wife and I read Andre's book when it came out. He sent me a copy beforehand. He goes, just so you're not on your heels when you're being asked about it, there's some pretty big stuff in there. And my wife read Andre's book and said, I think I can understand parts of your world better for having read this book.
Yeah.
Right? So there is that kind of thing between tennis players.
You should read Andre's book also if you haven't read it. The beginning of the book, it seemed...
Got a copy here.
There we go.
Wait. Sorry, I have a question.
No, I don't sign those.
Oh, you're having him sign it. I thought you just never left home without it. Has that been with you since 2008? Okay, good. Well, it's a good one.
It was, in the beginning, he went to Balotelli's, and if you go by Andre's, you know, what he said about it, it was like tennis's version of Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're like, whoa, I mean, how does he, you know, come out of that alive? You know, and other people, it's not so bad. So it was very interesting. That's a totally different read in a way than Bjorn's.
Yeah.
So that's good to have that contrast. And then there's the book about the politicians.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Thank you for watching Surf. Honestly, Mac, thank you for being with us. You've been the voice of tennis on top of being one of the icons of our sport. We know that as much as you'd want to sit around and listen to a dumb little podcast for the next hour, there's more important things. There's actual live tennis going on at the Laver Cup today. Day one starts off with Opelka Ruud, Mickelson, Mensik, Fonseca, Caboli tonight. Mickelson and Fritz in doubles. Mensik's coming back, the double up for Mickelson and Mensik. And some guy named Alcaraz going to finish out the day.
Yeah.
One more round of applause for John McEnroe. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
For watching Serve Live, brought to you by ServiceNow. We will see you tomorrow. Bring your friends, 10:30 a.m.
Keep the Serve Live going. I love the podcast.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
Thanks to ServiceNow for their support. ServiceNow wants to help people do the fulfilling work they actually want to do. Work like hosting this podcast. You know what people don't want to do? Boring, busy work. Now with AI agents built into the ServiceNow platform, you can automate millions of repetitive tasks in every corner of your business. IT, HR, and more. So your people can focus on the work that they want to do. That's putting AI agents to work for people. It's your turn. Get started at servicenow.com/AI-agents.